Listeners, we are starting with netball. St. Vincent and the Grenadines won their second match at the America's Netball World Cup qualifying tournament, beating St. Lucia 49-36 last night at the National Indoor Sports Centre in Kingston, Jamaica.
St. Vincent and the Grenadines' favorite and most hated son, the diaspora, Machismo. On the 27th of October 2022 will mark 43 years since St. Vincent and the Grenadines obtained national independence from its colonial master, Britain.
Colonialism is gone. This is a time of national freedom.
For this year, 2022 Independence feature, we are going to deal with people who made St. Vincent and the Grenadines and Vincentian proud. On today's special Independence feature, we are going to turn the spotlight on Thaddeus Michael Findlay. Some people in their naivety may be asking, why should Michael Findlay be featured in this series? And to justify their argument, they will say we had players like Nixon McLean, Cameron Coffey, and Winston Davis, to name a few. All Vincentians who made and played for the West Indies cricket team. They may even make the argument that Winston Davis is a current Guinness World Record holder and Michael Findlay is not.
And that's out caught by Clive Lloyd. A victim for Winston Davis. 2 down.
There's a big deflection here. The ball going away very quickly.
Winston Davis. It's in the air. It's over the wicketkeeper's head. Holding is underneath it in front of us, and that's a nicely judged running catch. And a big shout, and he's given out by David Constant, and that's a wicket, a very important wicket for the West Indies. And it's another victim for Davis, his third.
This is beautiful bowling by Davis. He certainly got the left right and also getting some movement of perfection.
Quickly caught by Desmond Haynes. Winston Davis has struck again. It's caught behind. Lawson's gone, the 7th wicket down. Winston Davis has now taken 5 wickets. Great performance from him. And that's it. Davis, another wicket. 7 wickets for Winston Davis.
Well, I will tell you why Michael Findlay should be featured in this series as a recognized Vincentian cricket stalwart. But before I get into that, let me tell you who Michael Findlay really is. Thaddeus Michael Findlay was born on October 19th, 1943 in a small rural mountain farming village of Trumaka in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. He attended the Trumaka Primary School and he also attended the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Boys Grammar School. As a child, Michael played cricket every day in his village. It was a sport of choice of the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines and the Caribbean. He did not have the basic equipment to play the game, which is a bat and a ball. So, they use whatever they can find. For a ball, they use fruits such as limes, oranges, and grapefruits. And for a cricket bat, the fallen coconut branch, use a machete and shape that branch into a cricket bat. These were the tools with which they practiced. With these primitive tools, children played cricket. Michael Findlay began as a spin bowler, but he hated feeling long leg when he was not bowling. He loved the game of cricket so much, he always wanted to be in the mix of things. Michael soon discovered that the wicket keeper is always in the mix of things. As a result, Thaddeus Michael Findlay begin to work on his wicket-keeping skills.
Confidently onto his 50. In time, I believe this young wicketkeeper might become very nearly as good a bat as Leslie A.
Thaddeus also excelled in soccer, and his position of choice was the goalkeeper. When he attended the boys' grammar school in Kingston, he made the boys' grammar school football team as a goalkeeper, and he later went on to represent St. Vincent and the Grenadines at the national level in soccer. Thaddeus Michael Findlay developed a healthy obsession over cricket. He wanted to be on the West Indies team, but there were only one obstacle. Members from the small islands, Leeward and the Windward Islands, were not allowed to be on the West Indies cricket team. Let me try to put it into perspective as to how big a challenge Thaddeus had with his big dreams in trying to be a cricketer that represented the West Indies from the small islands. The West Indies cricket team was formed in 1880. 10 years later, in 1890, they began touring with their first tour to Canada and the United States. The West Indies team gained Imperial Cricket Council membership in 1926. 2 years later, they gained Test status in 1928. For more than 69 years, members of the Windward and Leeward Islands cricket team that were eligible to be selected on the West Indies team were denied that opportunity. In the small islands, there were always the argument that such and such were a better batsman, a better wicket keeper, a better bowler, a better fieldsman than John Jones or James Jameson.
Victor Hadley. Victor was a fantastic leg break kukuli bowler. In fact, if Victor had been born in one of the bigger territories, he would have made the West Indies team. He was in the regiment in Jamaica and naturally played cricket in Jamaica. And they called him to practice with the West Indies team when they were up there once. And very few of the batsmen could read Victor. He made them look like a joke.
And they also had a better record in the recently concluded competition from which the West Indies cricket team was selected. The West Indies selectors always ignore these concerns, and when the argument was too compelling for them to ignore, they make the argument that John Jones and or James Jameson were more valuable to the team than that of Mr. This and Mr. That. Of course, they would accept that Mr. This and Mr. That were a better bowler, a better batsman, a better wicket keeper. They would always present the argument that John Jones or James Jameson can not only bat, they can also field, so their contribution to the team is of a greater value than the specialists. When the shoes were on the other foot, the specialist batsman was always given the advantage over the multi-talented batsman from the Leeward or the Windward Islands. Unfortunately for those talented men who should have been selected to the West Indies team but was denied the opportunity because of the prejudice that existed within the West Indies team and the selectors, there was no means of redress. There was no means of arbitration to hear their concerns. The larger territories, the West Indies board and the West Indies selection committee had closed the door on all small islanders, and they have locked the door to ensure they never get in. The 69 years of trying, no one from the Leeward or the Windward Islands ever made the West Indies team. But in the small rural mountain farming village of Chomoka, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, there was a lad no more than 8 years old, who had big dreams of playing and touring with the West Indies cricket teams. Thaddeus Michael Findlay practiced every day to improve his cricketing skills. There were no video libraries. There were no internet and YouTube where he can go and review the greats. However, Thaddeus armed himself with as much books as he can get his hands on about cricket, especially wicket keeping. With a vivid imagination, Thaddeus studied those books and he was able to develop the wicket keeping techniques of the greats. When Thaddeus Michael Findlay was selected for and made the St. Vincent and the Grenadines national cricket team, he was the first man, and up to this date, the only man to be selected and played for the St. Vincent and the Grenadines national cricket team, as well as the St. Vincent and the Grenadines national football team. Thaddeus Michael Findlay made the Combined Islands team, the line bowling, coconut bat swinging, lad from Chumaka will not be denied. Thaddeus Michael Findlay did not go quietly and knock at the door of the West Indies team. He lifted up his feet. And using his weight, he kicked the door of the West Indies team down. And in so doing, he kicked down the stereotype the large islands and the selectors had about the small islands and the talent within the small islands, that the small island cricketers were not good enough.
Boycott temporarily split the close field. Boycott edged a catch to Findlay, the new wicketkeeper. Boycott edged a catch to Findlay, the new wicketkeeper.
Thaddeus Michael Findlay is not in the Guinness Book of World Record as our good brother Winston Davis is. But when Thaddeus kicked down the door to the West Indies cricket team, it was the same door Winston Davis so proudly walked through to become a Guinness World Record holder. Just think about it. Just maybe, had not Michael Findlay kicked down the door to the West Indies cricket team and kicked down the stereotype with the door, like his friend Victor Hadley, who was skilled enough to make the West Indies team, but was denied that opportunity because he was from a small island. Could it be, had not Michael Findlay kicked down that door, the great Sir Vivian Richards, the great Sir Courtly Ambrose, the great Sir Richie Richardson, the great Cameron Coffey, the great Nixon McLean, and the great Winston Davis may not have gotten the opportunity to show the world how great they are and how great small islands cricketers are. After 69 years of trying, in 1969, Thaddeus Michael Findlay became the first man from a small island, the Windward Islands or the Leeward Islands, to make the West Indies team. Michael Findlay was responsible for kicking down the door that our good brother Winston Davis walked through to obtain his Guinness World Record. So on this, our 43rd anniversary of independence, I tip my hat to the great Thaddeus Michael Findlay, a homegrown son of the soil of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, for making us proud. My name is Chief Strongblood, St. Vincent and the Grenadines' favorite and most hated son, the diaspora machismo.
We are a nation of many races and have tried hard to integrate. The strength of so many faces shall be the prospects of our fate. So in this moment of history, tell it in every community, our nation is born. Colonialism is gone. This is a time of national freedom, so share our love with someone. The 27th dawn of October, our nation is born. One history, one ecstasy, one destiny for all the we.